Hatem Nazir, who happens to be the Middle Eastern expert. So welcome to Pakistan TV. And how do you see this latest development where UK, Canada and Australia recognize the state of Palestine?
This is a major change in how the international community is dealing with Palestinian issue. It's not up to the expectations of Palestinians. This might be a little late as for the Palestinians' aspirations, but still it's a major development because these countries, especially UK, was a main contributor not only in the Nakba or in the establishment of the State of Israel, but also in supporting that state for more than 70 years in terms of military weapons and political support. This change in political dealing with Palestinian state will put more pressure on the government of Netanyahu or the future governments of Israel, and it will add more credibility to the Palestinian effort to be recognized as a state and establish their own state on their own land. For the future, for the near future, we expect more countries to join this, if we can call it movement. But still, the American veto in terms of full recognition of this state and facilitation, pressurizing Israel for facilitation of the establishment of the state is still blocking the efforts on the ground. Many countries have got such recognition in the past, but the procedures on the ground took maybe decades or more than that for the establishment of this state. But still, Palestinians are happy about this. A lot of countries in Middle East have participated in the lobbying for this in the UN or through different conferences. One of the major lobbyists were the French government or the French president, but also a lot of Arab countries, Islamic countries, including Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, many countries who are supporting the two-state solution and focusing on making this happen despite the objections from US and Netanyahu government.
Absolutely. You are, as you're mentioning, the rejections by the US government. And with this latest move, United Kingdom recognizing the state of Palestine. And we also know that Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of UK, he had a meeting with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump strongly opposed the idea of the recognition of the Palestinian state. So do you think that this could act as a catalyst for Israel to carry out its expansionist plan?
It might increase the political pressure, but on the ground, still, Israel has the military power and the veto, the American veto behind it in the UN to carry on many attacks against regional powers or against the Palestinians implementing their plan, the Israeli plan of displacement of Palestinians, even inside the West Bank. When it comes to Gaza, we have seen what happened in Gaza for 2 years. Egyptians are blocking a new wave of ethnic cleansing by Israeli forces against Gaza people and pushing them out of their land. So when it comes to the expansion plan, it's not happening. But when we talk about the regional influence of Israel, trying to attack different countries in the region to make a point of a regional hegemony, till now, Israel is being facilitated by the US to do that. Again and again, we have seen the attack on Iran, we have seen the attack on Qatar. So, till now, Netanyahu is not stopping. But we hope that this political pressure will put America under some kind of pressure to stop the unlimited support to the Israeli government.
Now, Haitham, you have just mentioned that how United States have always been vetoing against the unconditional ceasefire in Palestine. So now, does this recognition of the state of Palestine by countries like UK and Australia and other member states which are going to recognize Palestine in the UNGA Assembly, Is this going to influence their decision or somehow being a catalyst in the unconditional ceasefire in Palestine?
It will make the American position more isolated, which will create political pressure on US because even the public opinion leaders in US, which were voting or trying to raise the awareness for the Palestinians or against the unlimited support of the US, did not succeed in pursuing neither Biden administration or Trump administration to stop this kind of weaponry support or call for immediate ceasefire. When all of these countries recognize Palestine in the coming National General Assembly meeting, it will make the American position isolated, which will make it much more pressure on them. But there is no guarantee that American decision makers will change their position. There are a lot of countries who got recognized by UN before. They got recognized by a lot of countries on paper before, but there is a lot of influence that Americans can play. We have seen Trump plan of the tariff game with so many countries that changed their policies towards so many things. I don't think UK or Australia or Canada or France, these big countries who are joining in recognition, will change their political position, but they might change their economic position. How much money they are donating to the UN organizations which are working in Palestine. How many of these countries will support the state of Palestine financially? Because when you establish a new state, you need a lot of foreign support because of the fact that Israel does not allow Palestinians to have their own seaport, to have their own airport or independent sovereignty on their land to establish their own economy, which means this state, after the political recognition, needs a lot of economic support. This might be under the influence of Americans through the tariff game, through other ways of sanctioning whoever supports Palestine. A lot of things are still pending to be seen in the coming months and years.
Now, Haitham, we see that UK has recognized again, and Australia and other countries are also going to recognize the state of Palestine, as we have been announced and mentioned. Now, is this step of recognizing the state of Palestine going to affect the relations between these countries and Israel?
Of course, Israel is playing a lot of pressure now using their lobbying groups inside these countries against these governments. We have seen the collapse of the French government, which made Macron, the French president, call for a new government and he's naming a new prime minister. This happened within months after Macron led the conference in partnership with Saudi Arabia to establish a lobby for recognition of Palestine in the UN. So the Israeli lobby in different European countries is very active. So, but Macron did not change his position because there is also a lot of support for such policies in France. There are a lot of support for such policies in Spain. Maybe you have seen the advertisements from the Spanish government, from Portugal, from Ireland. Many countries are voicing their concerns about human rights and supporting the Palestinians in getting their rights of recognition and building their own state. But that doesn't mean Israel will be silent. Israel is using all the effort, all the power they have in lobbying inside these governments, using different kinds of political support and economic pressure to change these perspectives. Netanyahu yesterday said we have to start our new war of, according to him, he says that we have to start the war against the propaganda which washed the minds of different people around the world, which made us isolated. He thinks that this is a propaganda or he's promoting this idea. On the other hand, a lot of countries now are recognizing Palestinian rights after decades of Israeli and American propaganda against the Palestinians. What happened in
Right.
Gaza in the last 2 years, a lot of countries recognize the Palestinian rights and take this step, which is a very important step.
Absolutely.
But the other steps which comes after that are more important also.
Right. Haytham, being the expert on Middle Eastern affairs, so with the recognition of the Palestinian state by Canada, UK, and Australia, do you see these three countries acting as a bridge between the Eastern and the Western bloc for the recognition of the Palestinian state and to bring peace in the Middle Eastern region?
It's not building a bridge because a lot of other countries have built the bridge during the 90s negotiation for establishing the Palestinian state. But we can say that they are building a block of pressure on other Western countries who are not recognizing Palestinian rights and recognizing or supporting the establishment of the Palestinian state. So we can say this is increasing the power of the bloc which supports the Palestinians. Canada, Australia, and the UK have not donated a lot to the establishment of the Palestinian state so far, either in terms of capacity building or direct fund or even investment in the Palestinian economy, while other European countries have been contributing since 1993 after the Oslo Accord was signed. This rule might increase from these three countries, which has the capacity to do so. Other than this, the political support inside the UN and lobbying against the American veto or American isolated point of view, which is the unlimited support to Israel.
Right, Hazen, right now, Palestinian enclave and the Palestinian people, they are suffering immensely. There is a lack of food, there is starvation condition, there are no medical supplies. So what immediate relief measures are you expecting after this recognition by UK, Canada, and Australia?
There is not much to expect from them so far because the blockage of the aid is not by these countries. So the change of their political position does not change what's happening on the ground. It changes only the political support of the Palestinian state. What is required is pressure on Americans because they have the keys to pressure Israel. If this bloc starts a new campaign after the General Assembly session to pressurize the United States to facilitate more aid to reach the Palestinians in Gaza, less pressure on the Palestinians in the West Bank, then it might work. So far, this is just a political recognition, which is a good step, but it's not enough. You can recognize the political rights of somebody, but that doesn't mean you are giving them all what they need. Palestinians need more than political recognition. They need humanitarian aid, they need economic empowerment, and they need even UN interference to stop the war in Gaza. If UN is only giving political support, which are statements in the UN, it's appreciated, it's a good step, but it doesn't change the situation on the ground. The only thing that changes the things on the ground is a real influence on what Americans are doing by the weaponizing of the Israeli military, which is doing all what we all see on daily basis against Palestinians. Massive killing, ethnic cleansing, warning people to be displaced from this area to this area, destroying the entire infrastructure of Gaza to force people to leave their land. This does not stop by political recognition. It needs an يعني coordinated effort by those countries, beside all the other countries which recognize the state of Palestine, to pressurize American president to change his policies. What happened in the last 6 to 8 months of Mr. Trump in power, in the beginning, first 2 months, he was saying he's calling for ceasefire, he will reach an agreement. The other 6 to 7 months, he gave the entire decision-making process about what's happening in Palestine and in Gaza and in the entire region to the Israeli Prime Minister. Every time the media question this president, what are the American policies about this, he says, we leave this to the Israelis. Israelis will decide. Israelis will make the priorities. This never happened in the American history. Normally, we hear a statement by the President of the United States saying that this is our policy. We call the Israelis to do A or B. But Trump got under huge influence of the Israeli lobby in America, which caused what the scene which we have been seeing for the last 7 months. If this doesn't change by different lobbying between coordinated between all the supportive countries of the Palestinian states, nothing will change. The Prime Minister of Israel will continue his war unless something happens inside Israel. Inside Israel, the opposition is still weak. Netanyahu is manipulating the Knesset or the Israeli parliament, which is what's leading to what we have been seeing all these months after Trump reached power. Every time they claim that there is progress in the negotiation, it collapses in the last minute. And we have seen the last initiative by Witkoff, the nominee or the coordinator for this issue from Trump's side, collapsed because Israelis have killed some of the representatives of the Palestinian movement in Doha.
Right, thank you so much. Haytham Nasir, the Middle Eastern region expert, was telling us about the dynamics of the Palestinian enclave and how he sees this latest development, the Canada, Australia and UK recognizing Palestine as a sovereign country. And now we will take you to Sir Keir Starmer's